Hello, are you looking for a water ionizer, but don't know what to look for? Then this video is for you. There are now around 3,000 models of different ionizers on the market and all at very different prices. At first glance, they all look more or less equally beautiful. But what lies beneath the outer facade remains hidden. Since no one wants to buy a pig in a poke, I want to bring clarity to this matter today. After all, a water ionizer basically has the potential to stay with you throughout your life and always produce alkaline, clean, antioxidant and finely clustered water. In this video I explain what you should look for when buying a water ionizer. My name is Yuld Reeder and I am the founder and CEO of SANUSLIFE. I have been working with water ionizers since 2003 and I'm also an enthusiastic drinker of alkaline active water myself. Over the years, I have met with many water experts, including the pioneer of water ionization technology, Wang. He was a scientist, inventor and best-selling author of the German book Reverse Aging. I was able to learn a lot from him, among other things, how a water ionizer works in detail and what it actually depends on. In addition, I have obtained extensive knowledge from many other neutral sources. So I got insider information, which is usually not passed on by any manufacturer of ionizers. I want to pass on this extensive knowledge to you today. The example of the ECAIA ionizer S. This is a latest generation water ionizer, which was first hit the market in 2020. In this section, I explain the factors you should consider when buying a water ionizer. This diagram shows how such a water ionizer works. The tap water flows through the filters from left to right. And you see, filter number 1 and filter number 2. Each of these filters has a special task in the ECAIA ionizer S, which I will go into in more detail later. After the water has passed through the filters, it flows into the electrolysis chamber. There are electrodes separated from each other by special, water-permeable membranes. The electrodes lined up next to each other are alternately charged positively and negatively with galvanic current. This causes the alkaline and acidic minerals dissolved in the water to be separated. The negatively charged electrodes attract the alkaline minerals. This is where the so-called alkaline active water is produced. It contains more ions and gaseous molecular hydrogen. There are now some great studies about it. On the other hand, the positively charged electrodes attract the acidic minerals. This is where the so-called acidic oxide water is formed. It contains more H+ ions and gaseous oxygen. Both waters, the alkaline active water and the acidic oxide water, then flow out of the unit from different outlets. The alkaline active water is mainly used for drinking and cooking, while the acidic oxide water can be used for cleaning or watering plants. And now I'll go into more detail. We start with the filters, an extremely important aspect of a water ionizer. The electronic water ionizer is connected to the supply line. This is controlled by nature, but can still contain harmful substances such as heavy metals, pesticides, microplastics, hormones, and much more. Above all, the heavy metals should be removed to a high degree before the drinking water is treated by means of electrolysis. As you can see from this table, heavy metals usually have a positive ionic charge, just like the alkaline minerals calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, etc. This means that if the alkaline minerals, as well as the harmful heavy metals, have not been filtered, they end up in a more concentrated form in the alkaline active water after ionization. Precisely for this reason, the filters also play a very important role in a water ionizer. Unfortunately, a large part of the manufacturers of water ionizers do not attach much importance to the filters. Very many of the devices available on the market are only equipped with an ordinary activated carbon filter. And although many manufacturers usually only use conventional activated carbon for their filters, they often advertise them as special or exceptional filters with special filter performance. However, you should not only pay attention to the advertising claims, but also research whether a manufacturer also has filter analyses that were carried out by an independent laboratory and that actually confirm the statements about the filter efficiency. Speaking of activated carbon, here you should know that the larger the surface of the activated carbon, the better the filter efficiency. For this reason, it can be said from the outset that activated carbon granulate filters are much more effective than an activated carbon filter, for example. In addition, there is the size of the granules. A coarse-grained granulate is cheaper and easier to process, but also much less efficient than a fine-grained granulate. The design of the filter and the mixing ratio between the different types of activated carbon also have major influence on the filter result. There are many different activated carbons, which have different filter properties depending on the raw material, burning time and burning temperature. In cooperation with international filter experts, SANUSLIFE has developed two special filters with the ECAIA ionizer S, with which we are able to filter heavy metals and many other pollutants from the water, while at the same time leaving the alkaline minerals in the water. However, this also requires a minimum filter volume. Two large filters are integrated into the ECAIA ionizer S on the one hand. These offer sufficient space for the special filter medium. On the other hand, it is also possible to improve performance and filter efficiency. Since heavy metals are usually larger particles than, for example, pesticides, filter number 1 contains a special mixture of activated carbon granulate, which mainly filters heavy metals such as lead, arsenic, manganese, uranium, copper, etc. Since the larger heavy metals are already filtered by filter number 1, there is more space left in filter number 2 to retain the smaller, subtle pollutants. Filter number 2 contains a special mixture of activated carbon granulate, which mainly filters pesticides, VOCs, drug residues and many other fine pollutants out of the water. With the help of this division, both filters work in synergy much better together. Filter number 1 has a faster saturation due to the particle-sized heavy metals and therefore a lower flow capacity, which is 1,800 liters of water. On the other hand, filter number 2 has a flow capacity of 3,600 liters of water. Customers often wonder why other suppliers state a much higher flow capacity, sometimes even up to 10,000 liters of water. In fact, we are also surprised about this, because numerous tests and analyses prove that these figures are absolutely unrealistic and are only applicable to very isolated pollutants, if at all. That is why it is so important that such performance statements are confirmed by independent laboratories through analyses. In summary, the ECAIA ionizer S, with SANUSLIFE's special double filter technology, is able to filter heavy metals, as well as pesticides, VOCs, drug residues and many other pollutants from the water. The entire before and after tests, which were carried out by an accredited and independent laboratory, can be viewed on the SANUSLIFE website. Now we come to the heart of every water ionizer, the electrolysis unit. Several factors have to work together to achieve optimal ionization. It must be pointed out at the outset that the ionization performance is highly dependent on the water used. For example, if the source water is very calcareous or rich in bicarbonate, you need a unit with a very strong ionization power. Experience has shown that inexpensive entry-level models no longer ionize satisfactorily even with slightly calcareous water because they are simply not designed for this type of water and consequently their performance is too weak. Why is that? There are not many limestone areas in Asian countries. Since water ionizers are produced there, there is often a lack of experience with countries, such as here in Europe, where there is very often lime in the water. An important factor in ionization conduction is the total surface area of the electrodes. This should be at least 1000 centimeters raised to the power of 2. If the surface area is too small, more current would have to be used to ionize the water, which in turn would have a negative effect on the structural properties of the water. The more electrodes are used, the larger the surface area normally becomes. There are models on the market with 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and even 13 electrodes per electrolysis unit. The more electrodes are used, the more expensive the device will be. Experienced scientists have designed a new type of electrolysis unit for the ECAIA ionizer S, which achieves the same ionization performance as comparable electrolysis units with 11 or 13 electrodes with only 7 electrodes and a total surface area of 1037 centimeters raised to the power of 2 and a relatively low intensity of the current. This was achieved, among other things, through the ingenious positioning of the individual electrodes in relation to each other. The material of these electrodes is also extremely important. In most cases, the electrodes are made of titanium and coated with platinum. However, there are two possibilities of platinum coating. The cheaper and also most commonly used possibility is spraying the titanium electrodes with platinum. The titanium electrodes of the ECAIA water of the ECAIA ionizer S, on the other hand, are coated with platinum by means of an electrolysis process or galvanization. That is, the electrodes are immersed as a whole in a platinum bath and coated using galvanic current. This is a special process where the electrodes are refined with 99.9% pure platinum. The finished platinum layer has a thickness of at least 3 microns and guarantees a very long service life. Now, of course, you might ask yourself why use such an expensive and complex procedure when it can be done much more cheaply. This has the following background. In many countries of the world, there is often very calcareous water. These electrodes can therefore calcify very quickly and severely, which reduces the ionization performance. For this reason, in most cases, water ionizers must be cleaned and decalcified every 14 days with citric acid water. If the platinum coating on the electrodes is not thick enough, or only sprayed on at low cost, the platinum will detach from the electrode, which will then severely impair the ionization performance. Many manufacturers only coat the plate. The connection pin for the power supply, which usually also comes into contact with the water, often remains uncoated. In the picture you can see that the electrodes of the ECAIA ionizer S are completely and evenly covered with a platinum coating. An additional, electronically controlled pole reversal, combined with a mechanical outflow control, ensures that the electrodes do not calcify so quickly and therefore constant ionization is guaranteed over a longer period of time. In order to be able to adjust the ionization power individually to the different types of water and water qualities, the ECAIA ionizer S has innovative control electronics. You can switch back and forth between different levels, with 5 buttons for the production of alkaline water, 2 for acidic water and 1 for neutral filtered water. In the submenu you can further optimize the ionization performance of the individual levels. Therefore, 20 different ionization levels are available for alkaline water alone. In order to adapt the unit to the nature of the respective source water, it is naturally important that these criteria are met. In relation to the ionization performance, the flow rate also plays a major role. The faster the water flows through the electrolysis unit, the less time there is to ionize it. With the ECAIA ionizer S, the flow rate of the water is shown in the display by means of illuminated bars. This in turn facilitates the setting of a constant flow rate and a resulting, consistent ionization performance. Many manufacturers show the pH value or even the AuP value that the water should have on the display. However, these values usually do not correspond to the real values, as there are usually no measuring sensors installed in the device and the values change greatly depending on the water quality and flow rate. In this respect, these specifications are more confusing than useful for the consumer, because if the device stops working, the consumer thinks that it is working. With the ECAIA ionizer S, the individual stages are only displayed with the numbers 1 to 5. In order to determine the pH value of the water at the individual stages, there is a pH indicator liquid which can be used to determine the pH value. This means that the customer can measure the drinking water. The type of power supply is equally decisive for the quality of the ionized water. An SMPS system is built into most models. Such a system can require a lot of repair work. The ECAIA ionizer S is equipped with a common system, the transformer, which converts the alternating current into clean direct current. This ensures clean ionization of the water. The quality of the water can also be proven by means of images of crystals. Good drinking water can be represented in the form of a harmonious water crystal with 6 corners. Here you see a crystal photo that was taken with the help of a special measuring method. The water used to make this crystal came from the ECAIA ionizer S. You can see the hexagonal crystal structure very well. In this picture, it is even extended over several levels, which represents a particularly high quality of drinking water in terms of energy. Another important aspect is all the materials that come into contact with water. In any case, you should make sure that no microplastics, hormone-like or other harmful substances are released into the water. With the ECAIA ionizer S, all components that come into contact with water have been extensively tested here in Europe to ensure that no harmful substances are released into the water. The entire documentation for this so-called migration test can also be viewed on the SANUSLIFE website. When choosing a water ionizer, you should also pay attention to the connection options. Some models can only be connected to a tap, which is sometimes very awkward or in some cases not possible at all. You can connect the ECAIA ionizer S to standard water tap by means of a diverter valve, or under the sink to the corner valve by means of a T-piece. All connection parts are included in the scope of delivery. Another highlight is that you can install the ECAIA ionizer S as a tabletop unit next to the sink. In combination with the additional ECAIA ionizer S faucet, you can also use it as an under-sink option. This offers you even more convenience and flexibility. This way, you can control the switching on and off of the unit and the pH level setting, etc. directly via the beautifully designed tabletop unit. This is not only practical, but also makes a nice impression. Before buying, you should also check which safety certificates are available and which analyses and tests the manufacturer has carried out on the device. The ECAIA ionizer S is produced in South Korea according to the GMP standard. This is a medical standard in production. The company has been on the market since 1986, is ISO certified and has already produced well over 1 million units. In addition to CE certification from TU Dialysis v Rhineland in Germany, the ECAIA ionizer S also complies with HACCP regulations. The unit has been certified for the European market as a drinking water treatment unit. In addition, service is also an important aspect. Many small companies or dealers import equipment from Asia without enough experience to be able to guarantee support in the event of damage. If the device is defective, in the worst case it has to be sent back to Asia to be repaired. This is not only very time consuming, but often also associated with high costs. SANUSLIFE has the expertise to repair the ECAIA ionizer S professionally and quickly in-house. Good service and the delivery of spare parts are guaranteed in the long term. In addition to the 2-year warranty, SANUSLIFE provides a further 4-year guarantee on the ECAIA ionizer S. This is a total of 6 years during which SANUSLIFE offers full service for the unit. Another reason to buy this ionizer. In general, the unit is also so well made and equipped with such high quality materials that it will be able to treat any type of drinking water for 15-20 years without any problems. The maintenance cost is also minimal. Depending on the degree of hardness, it is sufficient to regularly decalcify the appliance and to change the 2 filters every 6 months in case of standard use. Many people buy water in plastic bottles. For those, the purchase of such a device is a really good investment, as the device usually pays for itself in a few years. Imagine, you don't have to carry heavy bottles anymore, you don't need a big storage space, and on top of that you save money in the long run. Yes, it's even good for the environment, as no more unnecessary plastic bottles are produced. For me personally, investing in the water ionizer back in 2003 was probably one of the best decisions in my life. I hope I have been able to give you a holistic picture of what is important in a good water ionizer. In my opinion, the ECAIA ionizer S is the water ionizer with the best price-performance ratio currently available on the world market. We have customers who have owned a SANUSLIFE water ionizer since 2006 and who are still enthusiastic about it and use it every day to produce clean, alkaline, antioxidant and deliciously refreshing ECAIA water. I wish you much health and vitality in your life and thank you for your attention. Regards. Your old reader.